Hello and welcome to Queensland Weekender. Well, this great state of ours is always serving up fresh tourism experiences. And a little later in the show, I'm going to share a new encounter which combines ancient culture with delicious cuisine in what has to be surely one of the most beautiful settings on the planet and one of my favourites, which does give you a hint. I'll see you shortly. Also on today, glorious champagne pools on Fraser.
Gonna jump in for a swim?
Oh, of course, you have to do it.
A farm stay that kids will love.
Gotta love the country life.
And we meet the lady who's championing Queensland for the silver screen.
For us as an industry, it feels like the right place to be.
Fraser Island's 75-mile beach stretches all the way that way to all the way that way. And today, we're going this way. We're coming? Wait, let's get the car. This seems ridiculous.
We're on a Fraser Explorer 2-day tour with 6 friends of Queensland Weekender, who won a competition that we ran on our Facebook page.
Last week, we introduced you to Louise and Toby, Zoe and Julian, and Kim and Stephen. And don't forget our bus driver, Megan. On day 2, we're driving north from Yurong. What was your first thoughts when we drove out from the inland onto this east coast beach?
I just love that we can drive for 10 minutes and not see a person. I like the thought of a bit of isolation, get away from the city life, and yeah, that's good.
It is something special, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. On the tour bus this time, do you reckon that you and Steve would come over and tackle this on a 4-wheel drive by yourselves now?
Absolutely, we're already planning on coming back to go 4-wheel driving on the beach.
So we're not too far away from Indian Head now. There's a nice big rocky headland, which is volcanic rock.
That's if you're up for a 10-minute walk on a track that ends 60 metres above the beach. Indian Head was named by Captain Cook in 1770 when he sailed past on the Endeavour and spotted local Indigenous folk on the headland checking out his ship. It's the perfect place for a lookout, even on a windy day.
Our little holiday is a second honeymoon for Zoe and Julian, who are from our hometown, Dalby. They left their 2-year-old son Hamish with his grandparents, and Zoe is loving the fact that they haven't had to do any of the planning this weekend.
How often as an adult do you go on a holiday not knowing what you're doing? So I sort of embraced that, didn't do too much research, and yeah.
Wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
This gem of a spot is Champagne Pools. It's called that because when the waves crash over the rocks, there are loads of bubbles. Nature's spa baths.
You gonna come back?
Definitely, of course. Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
It's basically in your backyard, and it's just incredible. I can't believe that that's just there.
Champagne Pools is as far north as the tour bus goes, but there's plenty to see on the way back, including the wreck of the SS Mahino, the 400-foot ship beached on Fraser Island 80 odd years ago, while it was being towed to Japan. Its rusted hull makes for a good photo. Jeez, you've always got the camera in your hand.
Yeah, mate. Love taking photos.
Yeah, you took some crackers over the trip.
This is like a photographer's paradise. You don't have to be very good at it.
Yep.
You don't have to have great equipment. It's just amazing environment. You can take a photo of anything here and it looks fantastic.
That's it. And every place we've been to has just been breathtaking, hasn't it?
It has. It's amazing.
What have you enjoyed the most about the tour?
Just the feeling of freedom you get when you're here.
Yeah.
Total relaxation and forget about all your everyday worries. And it's like nothing else matters, mate.
If you've always wanted to visit Fraser Island, then this is the way to do it. We didn't have time to show you all the locations on the Fraser Explorer 2-day tour. Other highlights include Lake Wabi and beautiful Eli Creek. It's a really good way to access the island from either Harvey Bay or Rainbow Beach. Tours are all inclusive, so all you need to do is turn up. You can find the full itinerary on our website, and there's a link to all the other tours that are available.
In the words of Winnie the Pooh, it's time for a little smackerel of something. After the break, I'll take you to the source of this delicious honey. Oh my gosh. There's something special about a farm stay experience that gives you a sense of the way things were in days gone by. And when it comes to this property, the connection to local history couldn't be stronger. Peachy Homestead has been a working farm and in the same family since 1921. It's between Hampton and Crow's Nest on the Toowoomba Range near the town named after that family. Liz is the 4th generation of Peachy to own the place, and she and her husband John have grown the home hosting business that her mum started. In one of the buildings, there's all sorts of family history linked to the property and the local sawmill they opened in the 1860s.
My grandfather built this house in 1920 because he had access to all the offcuts from the mill.
I just think it's fabulous that you've kept all this history, and guests must be so interested to come in here. It's such a beautiful reading space. And
this particular book here is a family Bible from the 1860s.
From England to Australia. I wonder how many people have actually sat down and read it.
2 more homestead outbuildings have been turned into guest accommodation. Kumquat Cottage was originally the farm harness room and workers' quarters, but it's had a facelift and a large covered veranda, full-size kitchen and fireplace make it a great all-seasons hangout for a family of 6. Jacaranda Cottage was originally the farm office and garage. It was renovated, and John tells me it's now perfect for families with small children. Liz and John's own grandchildren love the playground that they've built outside the cottages. And at the back of the house, there's another experience waiting for kids who are maybe a little older. This is real adventure bushwalking. It's awesome in here. Kids would be fascinated to explore this area.
Yeah, children really enjoy walking through here, especially in the afternoons.
This 4.5 acres of precious dry vine scrub holds timber that was once highly prized, but that the family's now protecting.
So Liz, this area of the vine thicket's more like what it would have been like when the first Australians walked the area. And as you can see, the build-up of humus on the ground. That's why when it was initially cleared, the vine thicket area, it was the best farming area.
Closer to the house are trees that attract bees, so John has set up a flow hive.
I've got a key and I'm about to break the frame.
It's as easy as that. Honey runs out without bothering the bees, who come and go from the other side of the hive.
So Liz, here's the first jar and that's yours.
Oh, thank you.
So you can dip your finger in it.
That is amazing. Oh.
How's that?
Yum. And I hear there's a local 5-star restaurant that uses your honey.
Yeah, it's part of the Crow's Nest Hampton micro region. The new restaurant Emerald has started up and it is absolutely fabulous, and they use our honey on their pancakes in the morning.
The bees and the birds. In the late afternoon, the yard's a great spot for bird watching. Do you still look around and think of all your childhood memories? Or you've got the new memories coming through with the grandkids?
Oh, lots of different memories. Mainly when we were younger, the biggest challenge was to climb that hoop pine out the front of the house. That was a bit of an initiation if you're visiting for the first time.
You really do have a piece of paradise here.
Oh, thank you. I think you take it for granted when you live here. But yeah, it's pretty nice. We're lucky.
Peachy Homestead is 40 kilometres north of Toowoomba at Peachy, between Hampton and Crow's Nest. We'll have information on our website about how to get in touch with Liz and John to book a stay in one of their beautiful cottages.
I'm Tracy Vieira. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Screen Queensland. Green Queensland's a state government-owned company, and essentially we're here to make sure we tell Australian stories. So there's many parts to what we do. We run a lot of initiatives, we develop talent, writers, producers and directors, but we also attract production to the state. So things like Thor Ragnarok or Aquaman or Dora the Explorer. So we work on all of those things and also support film festivals all over the state. My family moved to Queensland when I was in grade 3. After uni, I went into events, and not long after I moved into film and television, which has taken me all over the world, including 10 years in the US as the Executive Vice President of International Production. You know, one of the great things about coming home to Brisbane is I've brought my American husband with me, and I'm getting to live Brisbane in a completely different way to what I ever did before. I think growing up here, I took a lot of it for granted, but having been away for 10 years and coming back and then experiencing it with someone new has really opened my eyes to how grown up Brisbane has become. You know, from incredible restaurants, and we happen to be vegan, so the amount of vegan places that we get to go to now, to the craft breweries, to coffee shops just absolutely everywhere with fantastic coffee. And having lived in Los Angeles where we had to hunt down the 3 good coffee places in the entire city, knowing I can get one on every corner here is one of the things I absolutely love. One of the things we're so blessed with, obviously, is the weather here and having a lifestyle that's outdoors. And where we live, we're essentially on the water, where we live in the Bayside. And so I literally step out my front door and I'm on a flat run, and I can go for a 10K run. And I have found such joy in doing that in terms of carving out time for myself, thinking time. I think that that's an opportunity that you really only get here. I've been absolutely delighted to come home and find that Brisbane is as world class as anywhere else. I feel like the food here is better than anywhere else in the world, and I think I'm just constantly surprised that somehow coming home has landed me in the best place I never thought was here.
After the break, seeing Stratty through the eyes of a traditional owner. That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Generations of families have made North Stradbroke their #1 holiday island, mine included. But even the strongest connections with Stratty are nothing compared to the cultural bond felt by its first residents, the Quandamooka people. And there are so many wonderful ways to see this beautiful island, Minjerribah, through their eyes. Josh Walker is a guide with Quandamooka Coast Tours. Hey Josh.
Yura.
Yura, how are you? Nice to see you.
You too.
You've got so much to show me.
We do.
As well as being a traditional owner, Josh is the descendant of a literary legend.
My grandmother is a famous poet, she was, in Australia. Her name was Udjuru of the Nunakal tribe.
No wonder storytelling plays a big part in Josh's tours.
So Mulumba, it means rock place.
And there are plenty of tales to share as we explore rugged North Gorge at Point Lookout.
So I've brought you here to tell you about the creation story for Moreton Bay. Where you came across on the boat over to the island, that used to be a dry valley. Now around 20,000 years ago, the sea level rose up and flooded the valley. Now in the valley is tons of iron oxide, or red ochre.
Red ochre, yeah.
So the scientists believe that when the initial flooding took place, all of the bay would have been red in colour. So the story says that the dolphin got speared by the eagle hawk, and when the dolphin blew the spear from the wound, all the blood flowed into the valley and created Moreton Bay.
Wild seas and skies add drama to this cultural experience, but they don't seem to bother the locals.
Yes, the good thing about this walk is the wildlife.
What do you call the kangaroo?
So the large male we call Kuruman, the female mums are the Yima, and then the baby ones they call Namul, same as the baby human.
The island's flora is rich with significance too. It looks like quite a tangled, messy tree, but it's pretty important to you.
Yes, this tree is a very important tree to our people. It has many uses. In our language, we call it Tawalpin, and also the yellow flower is a symbol to remind us of the fire-making qualities of this tree.
The sturdy timber is used to make fire drills.
Top stick can be slotted in and twisted with downward pressure. And then we have a groove running down the side of the bottom stick to allow the hot coals, the hot ash to fall down onto the dry grass. And then it can be then blown into fire.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Just as extraordinary, fibre from the same tree is used to make fishing nets.
And the way that we used to catch the mullet fish in the old days was by having one man situated high on a tree as a signal man, and the other men are down below. The man up in the tree has got a good view overall. He can see where all the fish are, while the other men sneakily go into the water and surround the fish using these hand nets. And they were so successful using that technique that quite often the frames would actually snap under the weight of the fish.
Of the fish.
Yeah.
After the break, Josh's son-in-law shares his modern twist on an Indigenous delicacy. Ha! Yes, Kieran, the aunties would approve.
Definitely so.
To make the most of Stratty, take a leaf out of the locals book and stay a while. Minjerribah Camping has campsites across the island, including at a rock near Point Lookout. Here, beachside camping covers everything from basic unpowered sites to a little luxury under canvas. These bell-shaped glamping tents have fine bed linen, fluffy pillows and quality furnishings. For a little extra, you can upgrade to a top-of-the-range Eco Island tent. Now this is very civilised. Camping with class, all that you need, in fact more. Queen-size bed, bar fridge, understated styling. I think I actually recognise these prints, one of my favourites. They're the work of Indigenous artist Delvene Cockatoo Collins, who has a shop and studio on Stratty. The beauty of her island home is present in every design. Stratty is a world of inspiration for Kieran Anderson Delaney too. Kieran's a professional chef with Quandamooka Coast.
Have a look at this, Vic. Red Emperor, straight off the point.
That is a beauty. Wow, in fact, this is all Quandamooka Coast food, isn't it?
Exactly right. This is just one of the fishes that come off our smorgasbord of seafood here on the island.
And the mighty mullet is a very important fish.
Most definitely. The undercullet is our traditional name for our fish here, the mullet fish. And it's been one of our main resources of seafood here on the island for thousands of years.
Kieran's going to throw a few fillets on the barbie, but not before we add some traditional flavour.
So we have some beautiful native saltbush. Saltbush is a native here on the island. It literally grows just on this beach. We also have some sea parsley, which is also a native to here that my beautiful wife has foraged off the beach. So now we're just going to season it up beautifully, nice and softly.
Can there be too much?
Right. That's plenty, yeah. So we're using it the same as salt and then just a touch of the sea parsley.
The plate's smoking hot and we're ready to cook.
Skin down always with the mullet. That's the #1 rule my grandma always taught me as a kid.
So you don't need to season both sides, only that top side?
Always just the top side where the flesh is. And then all we do is we press simply down on the skin because we want to get that really crispy. Here on the island, the aunties and the grandmas say, if it's not crispy, it's not right.
Listen to the aunties and the grandmas.
So we have to listen to the grandmas and the aunties when it comes to the undercull fish.
Ha ha ha! Yes, Kieran, the aunties would approve.
Definitely so.
Now tell me, you've got all this great knowledge about your native spices and all the things. How did you marry that with the actual chefing knowledge?
So I did my trade here in Brisbane, so just over the bay, and I've got my experience from two very well-known restaurants within the industry. I worked at Gerard's Bistro, and I also finished my trade with Dominic Rizzo. But a lot of my native and my knowledge for the culture definitely has come from my ancestors and my grandmas and aunties and uncles. Obviously always paying respect to the culture and the land and the things that come off of here. But obviously with the training I've had, I like to mix in the new school method with the culture and the food.
And a salad to go with that fish?
Exactly right, you've got to have salad. So all we're doing here is simply beautiful, fresh, local zucchinis, carrots, dill, alfalfa, and just marinated them in and married in some beautiful native flavours from here on Minjerribah and also on my grandfather's country in the Thargomindah region. Vic, here on Minjerribah we say Dojina,
which is?
Enjoy.
I can do that, okay.
How is it?
Very good. Even if you're a regular to North Stradbroke Island, you'll love seeing it in a new light with Quandamooka Coast Tours. Our website has contact details and information about wonderful cultural experiences, including walking tours and Quandamooka cuisine dining. You'll also find information on Minjerribah camping. Queensland.com and the Queensland Rail Travel websites are also worth a look. You can also keep up with our travels on Facebook and Instagram. And remember to keep tagging your holiday snaps at Queensland Weekender for your chance to pop up on the show. Well, time has flown. That is it for today. Thank you so much for your company. Hope you enjoyed the program and we will see you next week for more Queensland Weekender. Bye-bye.